My cold-blooded mafia boss, Don Cassius, tore my painting to shreds, right in front of everyone. I needed to vent. I texted a picture of my legs and fishnets to my dark web sugar daddy. Wanna be stepped on by your mistress? Stroke it for me. Now. I looked up. Cassius, usually an untouchable iceberg in a bespoke suit, swallowed hard. His ears flushed a dark red. Curious, I sneaked a peek at his phone. My photo. My filthy command. Both flashing on a screen. Holy shit. Ice shot through my veins. My stupid fucking thumb slipped and hit the video call button. Holy shit. My ruthless mafia boss is the sugar daddy who calls me mistress on the dark web. After my phone accidentally dialed him, Don Cassius' private phone buzzed on the conference table. The entire boardroom was dead silent. I held my breath. My palms were slick with sweat. 10 seconds ago, I hit the video call button for a contact saved as 61. Dumb. Money. 8-pack, who was currently sitting at the head of the table, the same man who had just ripped my art restoration draft into 5 pieces. Never in my wildest dreams did I think the sweet man who cried for his mistress online and wired me millions without blinking was the city's most feared mafia godfather. 10 minutes ago, he tapped my canvas and sneered. Aria, this is your 5th draft? Did you get your head slammed in a door 5 times? I almost cried right then and there. My family was drowning in millions of dollars of debt. My only way out was restoring antique paintings, and he was the boss who held my life in his hands. But now, if he answered that video call and saw my face, everything would flip. The constant fear of my drafts getting rejected, the debts, the nightmare of my parents selling me off for an arranged marriage, all of it solved. I stared at his phone on the table. My heart hammered so hard it bruised my ribs. Answer it. Come on, answer it. The screen lit up. Then, he declined the call. A second later, my own phone buzzed. Mistress, I'm in a meeting. I can't take my pants off right now. Be good. Don't be mad. Sending you money. I'll contact you later. Love you. Transfer, 52,000. I was stunned. But seeing the money, I couldn't stop the corners of my mouth from twitching up. A split second later, a voice like cracked ice snapped me back to reality. Aria. I snapped my head up. My gaze crashed into Cassius' dead, gray eyes. What the fuck are you smiling about? Every head in the boardroom turned to me. A dozen suited wise guys stared at me like I was dead meat. I opened my mouth. You what? Cassius stood up. At 6 feet 1 inch, he towered over me, his 3-piece suit impeccable. Did you hear a word I just said? I heard you. Then what's so funny? He took a step forward, his presence suffocating. Aria, I've been in this business for 10 years. I've never seen a restorer as garbage as you. My lips trembled. Your color matching is a disaster. Your brushwork looks like a fucking toddler did it. Do you have any idea what this draft of yours is? Boss. Shut up. He stepped right up to me, leaning one hand on the table, casting me entirely in a shadow. Do you know how much this painting is worth? $20 million. His words sliced like a knife. Your parents' debt plus interest is just a fraction of that. My blood ran cold. I gave you 5 chances. Cassius whispered, his voice dangerously low. Show me this trash again, and I'll throw you in the underground fighting ring. With your frame, you'll last 3 rounds. The payout will just be enough to buy your urn. The room tilted. I knew exactly what the underground fighting ring was. Last month, an underperforming restorer was sent there. He came back wrapped in bloody bandages. Tears spilled from my eyes. I couldn't stop them. Boss, My voice shook violently. My boyfriend just texted me. I couldn't help. Stop. Cassius cut me off cold. Nobody cares about you and your boyfriend. He pointed a finger at my head, looking like he was about to put a bullet between my eyes. I paid top dollar for you. For this auction. You pull this shit again, and I'll show you exactly how the Falcone family does business. Someone in the room let out a low sneer. I buried my head lower. Tears hit the table. One by one, the $52,000 transfer notification was still lit up on my screen. The man who cried for his mistress, begging me not to leave him, and the mafia tyrant standing in front of me, ready to end my life on a whim. They were the same person. I dug my nails hard into my palms. Don't cry. Don't talk back. Don't let him notice anything is wrong. If Cassius found out I was the mistress who made him get on his knees and call himself my dog, I wouldn't even get an urn. He'd bury me alive. Did you hear me? Cassius's voice pressed down on me. My blood froze. I forced the words out of my tight throat. Understood, boss. It won't happen again. The meeting ended. The room emptied fast. No one dared look at me. Terrified of catching Cassius' crossfire, I slumped in my chair, my legs too weak to stand. Aria. Elena walked over and grabbed my arm. She dropped her voice to a harsh whisper. Are you insane? You tried to video call someone right in front of the boss? Who was it? I wiped my face and looked around. The room was empty. This was my chance. Elena, I licked my dry lips, trying to sound casual. Do you think the boss dates anyone online? Elena froze. She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Excuse me? I braced myself. On the dark web, could he have an online girlfriend? Elena stayed quiet for 3 seconds. Then she laughed, a cold, hollow laugh that made my skin crawl. Maria, she crouched down, enunciating every word. Are you hallucinating from the stress? I was just asking. Cassius Falcone. Elena cut me off. 30 years old. Zero scandals. Do you know why? I shook my head. 2 years ago, the youngest daughter of the Torres family thought she was pretty enough to sneak into his bed at night. Elena's voice was eerily light. The next morning, she was dumped at her family's front gate. Both hands chopped clean off. My stomach churned. The boss doesn't do women. He's such a germaphobe, he won't even drink from a glass a woman touched. Elena stood up, looking down at me. He's not a man. He's a monster. The kind whose hands are permanently stained red. Stop listening to dark web rumors. Wake up. People make that shit up for money. My throat tightened. I'm pretending I didn't hear this. Elena patted my shoulder. But if you slip up in front of the boss again, I won't even be able to collect your corpse. She turned and left. I sat alone in the empty boardroom, my hands and feet freezing. I was dead. That was my only thought. Put myself in Cassius' shoes. I was a stranger, who made him call me mistress, who made him wear a collar and strip on camera to show off his abs. That wasn't a kinky game. That was holding a blade to a monster's throat. If he found out it was me, he wouldn't date me. He cut my tongue out and used me as part of a picture frame. I could never get exposed. At 9 p.m., I dragged myself back to my leaky, run-down apartment. Before I could even take my coat off, my phone buzzed. Mistress, the meeting is over. Are you still mad? Can I do it for you now? I stared at the screen, my fingers stiff. My mind flashed back to how Cassius looked this afternoon. Cold, vicious, ready to drive me to my death with a single sentence. Then I looked at this text. Just look at it, please, mistress. I shuddered. The whiplash gave me vertigo. I took a deep breath and replied, no need. Instantly, my phone blew up. I'm sorry, mistress. I shouldn't have ignored your call during my meeting. I was wrong. I'll pick up next time. Don't abandon me. Give me one more chance, please. Let me show you. A video call request popped up. I stared at the green button, my finger hovering over decline. Right then, another transfer notification popped up. Transfer. $10,000, mistress. Take this first. Just don't block me. I closed my eyes. The debt collectors had called 3 times today. My mother was crying on the phone, saying if I didn't get 20 grand, they'd sell me off to a 60-year-old man in the Romano family. If I rejected Cassius now, he might finally give up. But if I humored him tonight, next month's rent and my mother's medical bills were covered. Plus, if I backed off now, his suspicions from this afternoon would only grow. My only way out was to act. Act until he completely believed I had absolutely nothing to do with the trembling restorer from today. I took a breath and hit accept. The screens were pitch black on both ends. He didn't turn his camera on. Neither did I. This was our unspoken rule for 2 years. No faces, no real names. Mistress? A deep, crisp male voice came through the speaker. My whole body went rigid. It was really him. The same voice that sliced through me like an ice pick today was now dripping with honey. Are you still mad? He was so careful, his breathing so light. It was like I could see the desperate, eager look on his face through the screen. I typed, not mad, a beat of silence. Then, a heavy sigh of relief. Thank you, mistress. His voice was actually shaking. I stared at the dark screen, my mouth dry. The man who made me want to kill myself this afternoon was practically crying right now. Didn't you say you'd show me? I typed. Then show me. He clearly froze on the other end. Really? I can? His voice spiked with pure, unadulterated joy. He sounded like a golden retriever who'd just been told he was a good boy. No shit. Hurry up. Okay. He laughed. A low, breathless laugh that spilled through the speaker and made my ears burn. All right, I'm starting. The camera flickered on. A pair of long, strong, elegant hands appeared on screen. Slowly, those fingers reached for the cold metal buckle of his bespoke trousers. I held my breath, watching the zipper go down inch by inch. My eyes went wide. I was 24 years old. I'd never seen anything like it. I thought I'd seen it all. Erotica. Dark web galleries. What hadn't I seen? But when that thing actually appeared on screen, I shrieked and threw my phone onto the bed. It hit the mattress with a thud. Mistress? Cassius' panicked voice came through instantly. Mistress, what's wrong? Did I scare you? I'll stop. I covered my burning face, my chest heaving. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Was that thing real? Was it even human? I took 3 deep breaths, but I couldn't cool my face down. In the mirror, I was as red as a boiled lobster. No. I absolutely could not let him know I was flustered. Mistress? He sounded frantic now. Say something. Did I do something wrong? I grabbed the phone and immediately hung up the video. Channeling every ounce of coldness in my body, I typed, Did you not finish puberty? The book boyfriends I read about are all 12 inches. Dead silence for 5 whole seconds. Then, a voice note popped up. I tapped it. Mistress? He sounded wounded, almost pleading. Those books aren't real. My 8 inches is already really good. He paused, his voice dropping even lower. With your body, I was actually worried you couldn't take it. My face burst into flames again. This man, the boss who terrorized mafia executives and ended lives with a single word. When talking about this with me, he sounded worried. I shook my head to snap out of the weird flutter in my chest. No, I couldn't let him off easy. I was going to pay him back tenfold for how he humiliated me today. I took a deep breath and typed furiously, I definitely can't take it. You're too old. I want something pinker. Maybe I should find a young boy toy to play with. The chat went dead quiet. I stared at the screen, my heart racing. Did I go too far? Saying that to a 30-year-old man, especially a mafia don. A second later, video call requests spammed my screen. Once, twice, 3 times. I declined all of them. Then came the voice note bombardment. I clicked the first one. Mistress. Cassius' voice was shaking. Actually shaking. Whatever color you want, I can do it. Whatever shape you want, I'll get surgery. I'll go tomorrow. Whatever doctor you want from any country, I'll fly them in. Second voice note. You can't abandon me, mistress. Besides being a little older, I can fix everything else. I can't get my youth back, but I can keep you better than those boy toys. Whatever they give you, I'll give you 10 times, 100 times more. By the third voice note, he was practically panting. Mistress, please. Don't find anyone else. I'll do whatever you say. I leaned back against the headboard, staring at the ceiling, a grin spreading across my face. This felt so fucking good. The man who treated me like a dog this afternoon and threatened to send me to a fight club was now willing to get surgery because he was afraid I didn't like his size. But reality yanked me back. I had to submit that restoration draft tomorrow, the one Cassius called trash. I had to pull an all-nighter to redo it. I dropped the smile and replied, depends on how you behave. I'm busy. He replied instantly, what's wrong, mistress? Can I help? I'll do anything. I bit my lip, an idea forming. This was my chance. I pulled 3 all-nighters on a restoration, then some bastard called a dog's hit in public today. Now I have to do it all over again. His breathing shifted instantly. Which blind fuck? His voice went dead cold. Pure, undiluted rage. Who said that? Mistress, give me the address. I'm heading over with a gun right now. I'll make him kneel and apologize to you until his head bursts open. I turned off the screen and laughed out loud. Was he trying to meet me in person? Little did he know, the bastard he was promising to murder was himself. The next morning, I walked into Falcone headquarters with 2 cups of coffee and approximately 12 years shaved off my lifespan from stress. My phone had exploded all night. 37 messages, 9 voice notes, 4 wire transfers, 1 photograph of a very expensive diamond necklace accompanied by the caption, Mistress, if I wear this and bark properly, will you forgive me? I nearly walked into a wall. This man was clinically insane. Worse. He was clinically insane and controlled half the city. I shoved my phone deep into my purse and headed for the restoration studio. Today's deadline was non-negotiable. If I failed again, Cassius would personally turn my life into a cautionary tale. For 6 straight hours, I worked without stopping. Every brushstroke, every color correction, every tiny crack in the original canvas. I poured everything I had into it. By noon, my eyes burned. By 3, my back felt broken. By 5, I finally carried the finished restoration toward the executive floor. The entire elevator ride felt like a trip to my execution. The doors opened. Elena spotted me immediately. You look terrible. I feel terrible. Good. Thanks. She pointed toward the double doors. He's waiting. My stomach dropped. Waiting. Not reviewing paperwork. Not taking calls. Waiting. Specifically for me. Fantastic. I walked into the office. Cassius sat behind his massive desk. Perfect suit. Perfect posture. Perfect expression. Like an emperor deciding who lived and died. He didn't look up. Put it down. I obeyed. Silence filled the room. He studied the painting for so long that I started mentally drafting my will. Then, that was it. 1 syllable. 1 terrifying syllable. What does that mean? I blurted. His eyes slowly lifted. What does what mean? HM. Cassius stared at me. You've worked for me for 8 months. Unfortunately. And you're questioning my vocabulary? I immediately regretted opening my mouth. His gaze returned to the painting. Another long silence. Then he set down his glasses. It's acceptable. I blinked. Acceptable? That was practically a standing ovation. You mean it? His eyebrow twitched. Don't make me change my mind. Relief slammed into me so hard my knees almost gave out. I wasn't going to the fighting ring. I wasn't getting fired. I wasn't dying. I could actually breathe. Then Cassius added casually, though your color transition on the lower right section is still weak. My happiness died instantly. Never mind. Still a demon. Absolutely still a demon. Thank you, boss. I turned to leave. Arya. I froze. Something in his voice sounded strange. Not softer. Just different. I looked back.
Cassius was watching me.
Really watching me. Like he was trying to solve a puzzle. You seem happier today. My pulse jumped. Oh. There was that curse sound again. His gray eyes narrowed slightly. Did your boyfriend apologize? My soul nearly left my body. The boyfriend. The fake boyfriend. The boyfriend I'd invented during yesterday's meeting. Cassius leaned back. Good. I blinked. Good? He looked away. If he upset you enough to affect your work, he should apologize. For a moment, he almost sounded reasonable.
Human even.
Then he added, if he doesn't tell me his name. There it is, I thought. The murder. I forced out a nervous laugh. No need. Why? No reason. His gaze sharpened. The room suddenly felt too small. Dangerously small. Like he was getting closer to something. Something he wasn't supposed to find. My phone buzzed. Both our eyes dropped to it. A message preview appeared on my lock screen. Mistress, I miss you. My blood turned to ice. I lunged for my phone. Too late. Cassius had already seen it. The room became deathly silent. I looked at him.
He looked at me.
Then very slowly, very carefully, Don Cassius Falcone asked, why does your boyfriend call you mistress? My soul left my body. Immediately. Without notice. Without permission. Straight through the ceiling. I stared at him. He stared at me. The message glowed between us like a bomb. Mistress, I miss you. I wanted the floor to open. I wanted lightning. I wanted a meteor. Anything. Instead, I got Cassius Falcone waiting for an answer. Why does your boyfriend call you mistress? He repeated. My mouth opened.
Closed.
Opened again. Nothing came out.
Think, Arya. Think. Fast.
Roleplay. The word shot out before I could stop it. Cassius blinked. Roleplay. Yes. His face became unreadable. I doubled down. The healthy kind. The healthy kind. Very healthy. The silence was unbearable. Then,
I hated that sound.
What kind of roleplay? My brain started smoking. He pretends he's... I searched desperately for an answer.
A dog.
The second the words left my mouth, I knew I was doomed. Cassius froze. Completely froze. For one strange second, something flashed across his face. Recognition. Then horror. Then jealousy.
Wait.
Jealousy? My eyes widened.
No.
No way. Before either of us could speak, my phone buzzed again. Another preview appeared. Mistress, did you eat lunch? I almost screamed. Cassius saw that one too. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. You have a very attentive boyfriend. His voice sounded strangely tight. He's enthusiastic. Another buzz. I worry about your health.
Buzz.
I asked my chef for soup recipes.
Buzz.
Do you like soup?
Buzz.
Mistress? Cassius stared at the screen. Then at me. Then back at the screen. For the first time since I'd met him, he looked personally offended. Does he text you all day? Sometimes. While you're working? Occasionally. His jaw tightened. Doesn't he have a job? I nearly laughed. The irony was so powerful it physically hurt. My boyfriend was literally him. And apparently, he was now annoyed by his own behavior. Another notification arrived. Mistress, I found a cat video that made me think of you. Cassius looked like he wanted to punch somebody. Probably himself. Unfortunately, he didn't know that. I see. The words were clipped. Sharp. Dangerous. I quickly shoved my phone into my purse. Anyway, boss, if there's nothing else. There is. I froze again. Cassius stood. The office suddenly felt much smaller. He walked around the desk. 1 step.
2.
3. Until he stopped directly in front of me. Far too close. My heartbeat started sprinting. His gray eyes searched my face.
Studying.
Calculating. Like he was putting together pieces of a puzzle. You've worked for me 8 months. Yes. You're 24. Yes. You live in a terrible apartment. I blinked. How did he know that? You support your parents. My stomach tightened. You have debt collectors calling you. My blood ran cold. Every answer he found seemed to make his expression darker. Angrier.
Not at me.
At something else. Finally he asked quietly, why didn't you tell me? I stared. What? The debt. I genuinely didn't know how to respond. Because normal employees didn't casually tell mafia bosses about their financial problems. That seemed obvious. Cassius looked annoyed by my silence. Then he reached into his jacket,
pulled out a check,
signed it, and slid it across the desk. I looked down, then looked again, then a third time. The amount nearly stopped my heart. Cassius. His expression didn't change.
Take it.
I can't. You can. No, seriously, I can't. You can. This is enough to erase everything. Then erase everything. I stared at him. He stared back. Neither of us moved. Finally, I whispered, why? Something strange crossed his face. Gone so fast, I almost missed it. Then he looked away. Because you're useful. Liar. The thought appeared instantly.
I didn't know why.
But I knew. That wasn't the real reason. Unfortunately, before I could figure out what the real reason was, Elena burst through the office door. She looked alarmed. Actually alarmed.
Which was terrifying.
Boss. Cassius immediately turned. What happened? Elena's face was pale. We found the leak.
The room changed.
Instantly. Every trace of warmth vanished from Cassius. The man standing beside me disappeared. The monster returned. His eyes turned cold as steel.
Who?
Elena swallowed. The auction information wasn't stolen from outside. A dangerous silence followed. It came from inside the family. For the first time all day, genuine fury appeared on Cassius's face. And suddenly I felt very sorry for whoever had made that mistake. Because somewhere in the city, a person was about to discover why everyone feared Don Cassius Falcone. And judging by the murderous look in his eyes, it was going to be a very bad day for them. The beginning of the end arrived 3 weeks later. Not with gunfire. Not with betrayal. Not with one of Cassius' enemies kicking down a door. It arrived with a single mistake. Mine. I was half asleep after another all-nighter restoring a 16th century portrait. My phone buzzed. Without looking, I opened my usual chat window and typed, "Good morning. Did you eat breakfast?" Then I hit send. A second later, my blood froze. Wrong chat. Very, very wrong chat. Because I hadn't sent it to my sugar daddy. I had sent it to Don Cassius Falcone, my boss. The man currently sitting 30 feet away in the executive conference room. The message showed as read. Immediately, I stared at the screen in horror. Then 3 dots appeared. Typing. Stopped. Typing again. Stopped. Then finally, breakfast. That was all. One word. One devastating word. Because it was exactly the kind of confused response a man would send if he had absolutely no idea why his employee was suddenly checking whether he'd eaten. I nearly threw myself out a window. For 2 years, I kept the identities separate. 2 entire years. And now my exhausted brain had lit the fuse. I spent the entire day avoiding him. Every hallway. Every elevator. Every meeting. If Cassius turned left, I turned right. If he entered a room, I exited. By evening, I thought I might have survived. Then Elena appeared at my desk. "The boss wants to see you." I died. Instantly. Again. His office door stood open. Like the gates of hell. I stepped inside. Cassius sat behind his desk. Expression unreadable. Phone in his hand. My phone buzzed. A message arrived from my sugar daddy. "Mistress, can we talk?" My stomach dropped. Slowly. Carefully. Cassius placed his phone on the desk. At exactly the same moment, the typing indicator appeared in my sugar daddy chat. My pulse stopped.
No. No, 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 no.
Not here.
Not now.
Cassius folded his hands. "Sit down, Arya." I sat. Because standing wasn't really an option when your legs had stopped functioning. The room was silent. Then my sugar daddy sent another message. "I figured something out today." Across the desk, Cassius's phone vibrated. I watched it happen. He watched me watch it happen. Neither of us blinked. Neither of us breathed. And suddenly there was nowhere left to run. No lies left. No excuses left. Only the truth. The terrifying, ridiculous, catastrophic truth. Cassius leaned back in his chair. For the first time since I'd met him, he looked nervous. Actually nervous. His fingers tightened slightly against the armrest. Then he said quietly, "Before either of us says anything stupid." I swallowed. Hard. His gray eyes locked onto mine. And a slow, helpless smile appeared on his face. "Tell me honestly." My heart hammered against my ribs. "Are you my mistress?" The room went completely silent. And for the first time in 2 years, Don Cassius Falcone looked more afraid of my answer than I was of his. I stared at him. He stared at me. Neither of us moved. Neither of us blinked. 2 years of secrets sat between us on that desk. Every late-night conversation. Every voice note. Every transfer. Every ridiculous argument. Every time he'd begged for attention. Every time I'd threatened to replace him with a younger man. Every single moment. All of it had led here. Finally, I exhaled. Yes. The word barely left my mouth. Cassius closed his eyes. Not in anger. Not in relief. Something stranger. Like a man who had spent years searching for treasure and was terrified to discover it was real. When he opened his eyes again, there was no rage. No violence. No threat. Just disbelief. "It's really you." I laughed weakly. "It's really me." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then I remembered every miserable thing he'd put me through. Every insult. Every public humiliation. Every threat. My embarrassment instantly transformed into fury. I stood up. "Oh, now you're speechless?" Cassius blinked. I pointed at him. "Do you remember calling my work garbage? Do you remember threatening to throw me into an underground fighting ring? Do you remember making me cry in front of 30 people? His expression became increasingly uncomfortable.
Good.
He deserved uncomfortable. I crossed my arms. Funny, because I remember. Arya.
No.
For once, I wasn't scared. For once, he looked scared. I jabbed a finger toward his chest. You spent 2 years calling me mistress. His ears immediately turned red. You offered to get surgery. Redder. You said you'd wear a collar. His face was now the color of a fire truck. Outside the office, I heard someone drop something. Apparently employees were listening through the door. Excellent. Let them hear. Cassius looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him. Meanwhile, I was having the time of my life. You called yourself my dog. The silence that followed was magnificent. Absolute.
Perfect.
Finally, Cassius covered his face with one hand. I was hoping we wouldn't discuss that part. We're discussing all of it.
Arya.
All of it. His shoulders dropped in defeat. For the first time, the feared dawn of the city looked completely beaten. And somehow it was adorable. The realization hit me like a truck. Adorable. The terrifying mafia boss was adorable. I was doomed. Cassius lowered his hand. His expression softened. Then discuss everything. I paused. His voice grew quieter. But discuss all of it. The amusement drained from my face. Something vulnerable appeared in his eyes. Something real. For 2 years, you were the best part of my day. My breath caught. When things got ugly, he looked away briefly. When people lied to me. When business became unbearable. When I couldn't trust anyone. His gaze returned to mine. You were there. The office became very quiet. I never cared what you looked like. His voice was steady. I never cared about your name. I never cared where you lived. I just wanted to hear you talk. My chest tightened. Then I met you. A small smile appeared on his face. And unfortunately for me, I liked you even more. The room spun. This wasn't fair. He wasn't supposed to say things like that. He was supposed to be terrifying. Not sincere. Not honest. Not looking at me like that. My eyes burned unexpectedly. Cassius noticed immediately. His chair scraped back. Why are you crying? I'm not. You are. I'm not.
Arya.
I wiped my eyes aggressively. It's your fault. That earned a surprised laugh. A real one.
Warm.
Human. Nothing like the cold mafia boss everyone feared. He stepped around the desk. Slowly. Giving me every chance to stop him. When I didn't move, he reached up and brushed away a tear. Gentle. Ridiculously gentle. The same man who terrified half the city. Then let me make up for it. I laughed through the tears.
How?
I'll spend the rest of my life trying. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Then I smiled. A real smile. The kind I hadn't worn in years. That's going to take a very long time. I know. You were really awful. I know. Like genuinely terrible. I know. I shook my head. Then finally, I took his hand. His fingers tightened around mine instantly, like he was afraid I'd disappear. Outside the office, someone cheered. Another person immediately got punched for cheering. We both ignored it. Months later, my family's debts were gone. The restoration I'd worked so hard on sold for a record price. My mother stopped crying. My apartment leaks became somebody else's problem. And Don Cassius Falcone, the ruthless mafia boss, remained terrifying to everyone else. But every night, my phone still lit up with messages. Did you eat? Are you warm enough? I miss you. Can I come over? And occasionally, mistress, please tell me you're not looking at younger men again. To which I always replied, behave, dog. His response never changed. Yes, mistress. Red heart. And somehow, against all logic, all reason, and all common sense, we lived ridiculously, happily ever after.
The end.